everybody. Welcome back. Cubism, Aaron,
Drew.
We're talking. We've been a little other than set reviews. We've been a little out of the mix. I'm busy. I want to say Drew's busy, but he's not busy. Needless to say, we've kind of been neglecting our 3 month later recaps that we've been doing on sets in the past. That kind of, it's really easy to talk about a set and get excited about stuff, but then seeing how cards actually perform is
harsh truths.
Yeah, it's harsh truths. Yeah. So we're gonna recap kind of a couple sets because like I said, been busy, not busy. So this week we're catching up on Dominaria, a little bit of Battlebond, and Core set. So starting off with our plug to our sponsor, which I am very bad at remembering. The Metabase. The Metabase is the content provider that lets us bring you this content every now and then. Random time, who knows?
Every 5 weeks.
They don't yell at me that much. That's great. So, anyway, themetabase.com, your home base for all things Magic the Gathering. From everything except for Vintage. Austin's back. Pauper's back. Everyone likes Pauper. I think people still like Pauper. They did early 2018. Who knows about late 2018? Yeah, make sure to check them out. So that brings us to the actual starting point of Dominaria. Dominaria, the very, very, very hyped set coming into 2018. It was where everything kind of started. We left right after Scourge into Mirrodin. I guess we went back a little bit for Time Spiral. But,
Then back to Mirrodin again.
Back to Mirrodin. So, Dominaria, had a handful of mechanics that weren't necessarily the greatest for Cube. It had the historic nonsense. Some of it okay, because thankfully artifacts are historic. Nonetheless, Dominaria had what looked like a very impressive card pool. I know by the time we were finished evaluating everything, talking about almost 20 cards is pretty great for any set, right? I wish I could say the same for Ravnica.
Well, some of them were just throwbacks. And
so, absolutely.
Maybe revitalized cards of a card that wasn't good enough.
We talked about the new version of Kabu Titan, or whatever that card's name is.
Yeah.
That card wasn't good, but, we're talking about anyway. Anyway, it was a lot to talk about, and a lot of cards ended up performing pretty well. So all the cards that we're going to talk about in this episode are cards that we actually had field testing with. There were a lot of, whatever this Kabu Titan card is, that we talked about, and Phyrexian Scriptures and stuff like that we didn't actually end up playing. We didn't think it made the cut, so...
Well, I'm usually picky to begin with.
Drew's extremely picky. I play, as you'll find out, I play significantly more zany cards. And those are the cards we're talking about. So they have real-world experience. That brings it. Then starts us off with, even though it's not alphabetical, it's Divest.
It's a serviceable discard spell.
Yep. If you're looking for what is Thoughtseize, Inquisition, Duress, and then for 1-mana ones, Ball Therapy if you're kind of into that crowd, but otherwise Divest and what's the new Phyrexian one? Draw my Remnants one.
Starts with a D.
Despise.
Yeah, there you go.
This card's fine. Divest is cool. It hits a creature. You're probably more likely to hit a guy in a lot of matchups. It's kind of like Duress. You don't necessarily always play Duress main. You don't necessarily always play Divest, but it's very passable. It's fine. Speaking of passable, Cast Down. If you don't want to, the long list of Doomblade effects, not that Doomblade is on the top of that list by any means, probably go for the throat. Again, Cast Down, another very serviceable. Oh, has cool F&M promo, which brought up last time. I think Drew finally saw it.
Yeah.
Did you end up playing Cast Down?
Yeah, I read it.
Do you currently play Cast Down?
One of my friends was mad that I go for the throat for Cast Down, which was not true.
Yeah,
Because Slaughter Pact.
Yeah, the go for the throat for Cast Down's bad.
And he's like, oh, that sounds more reasonable. Yeah. But he keeps trying to kill legendary creatures with it. I just run it out there and kill whatever I want. So.
Who is it?
Smoley.
Yeah, that sounds about right. He doesn't like reading cards very much. Another very serviceable card is a Dauntless Bodyguard. So the first half of these Dominaria cards, not very exciting. But Dauntless Bodyguard, definitely on the top of the list of Savannah land effects.
Even if you run it out there on turn 1.
And then it's just a strictly better because the typing is relevant. It's human soldier, I assume.
I cut my only human relevant cards like Champion of the Parish and Mayor of Averbrook. So it's in the anthem, glorious anthem tribe, as in creatures. So,
so yeah, Dauntless Bodyguard, obviously fine. It's again probably in the higher upper echelon of Savannah lines, but again nothing crazy to write home about. A card to write home about. Karn's Sign of Urza the first of maybe another planes we're going to talk about that I think both Drew and I think we probably have a tendency of underrating planeswalkers because people get so excited about them. It's easy, it's almost fun to be on the other side of the coin.
You just pick the best one of that color combination and say, is it better than this one?
Yeah, it's really, really easy to say, is Karn Sign of Urza better than Karn Liberated or Ugin, right? And it's like, well, probably not, because it's not nearly as impactful, especially Ugin. Ugin's like insane. I definitely think Ugin Ugin is the premier colorless planeswalker. So it's like, yeah, Sign of Urza, it's like kind of clunky, like what does it do? And then when our first impressions to our set review, I was very slowly coming around to it. Then when the card actually came out, out of the spoiler alert, between him and Teferi, he was the only one that I played day one. And the card quickly impressed me. It's obviously showing its power. It showed a lot of I don't want to say dominance, but it showed up a lot in standard and even modern to vintage. In vintage, it's pretty sweet,
It's kind of like the trend in vintage, though. You just jam in this new standard thing, and then like, all right, this is a new
Card's
deck.
sweet because you play it in the stacks and stuff, and you just power out and start making giant artifact creatures.
Mm-hmm.
It's not bad. So, Karn Sign of Urza performed very, very well. I was excited to cut. It's probably not fun to say, but I was excited to cut Karn Liberated.
That was my cut.
Yeah, Ugin and Karn are both very, very powerful, but they both kind of serve the same purpose. They're these big ramp colorless cards. So Karn was kind of the other end of it. Karn Sign of Urza was the other end of that. So it's good to mix it up. And Drew and I are both babies and don't play that many planeswalkers. So 2 is normally the max, even maybe in this not color combination. But Karn Sign of Urza, very good. You should probably play it. I get this card's good too, but
Lyra Dawnbringer's been fine. I just cut Baneslayer. It does the same thing.
I think it's anthemed at least one of. I think it's anthemed an Angel twice, but I don't know if it's ever been relevant.
Is that +1/+1 winning you the game?
No, if you're looking to see if you finally want to shell out for Lyra, I know it's expensive, more expensive now because it's better in standard because cards rotated out. If you have Baneslayer, you're probably fine. That's not that big a deal. It's almost a nothing upgrade. Costs a lot more money.
Unless you run both.
You could run both. Why not both?
It's lots of white 5-drops.
Speaking of angels, to Anthem. Did you play Shalai?
No.
I played Shalai as a white creature, not a green-white creature.
I'd be fine with that.
4 mana, 3/4 flying, gives yourself hexproof. White 4s, like Hero Blade hold good,
Restoration
is good. The creatures white 4-drops with 4 toughness, very, very good. Then you have the kind of the Sublime Archangel, Gisela Blade of Gold Knight. I think I'm blanking on another one. When your 4-drop dies, Searing Spear effects, it feels really, really, really bad. So even though Shalai's effect isn't super important, but I guess if you play it in green, it's great. Just being a more more survivability in the air on curve is passable on its own. I don't know if I'd wanted to take up a Selesnya card.
How many times have you activated it?
0 times.
Okay.
So I don't know if I'd wanted to take up a Selesnya slot.
Well, if you activated it 0 times, it's not a Selesnya card.
The spreadsheeting part of me wants to put it in Selesnya, but whatever, move on to their lives. Squee the Immortal.
I played Squee the Immortal.
Both of us played Squee the Immortal for some amount of time. Drew only cut his very recently.
Hey, I got a foil one. It was a deal. I got it cheap, so I put it in.
What was it?
It was first picked for some reason in the first draft and immediately misplayed in the first.
I was going to say, I was playing against Jared, who's on this red-green deck, and I edict him, and he has a birds and Squee in play,
on turn
and he
2.
just sacrifices his birds.
And then completely did not have double red for the entire game.
Yeah, and I was like, what are you doing? And then he's like, oh, yeah, right, I can cast this from my graveyard, not only exile.
That's the only time I remember this card being played.
I think he even had a Skull Clamp, too. He just never connected the dream. Oh, that's when the Squee Dream ended for me, and only recently for Drew.
Hey, I was going to cut a different card, and someone pointed out on my cube tutor.
Yeah,
like, you're still playing Squee.
Oh, yeah, you were going to put Legion Warboss.
Yeah.
And you were going to cut Thopter Engineer.
I need it for my battle box, and I can't find another foil.
So you're going to cut it, but then, cooler heads prevailed, and we cut the Squee finally, so, now we're here.
Still need a full Thopter Engineer.
So, Teferi. Some might say we underrated this card, too, along with Karn. Back 5 months ago, however many months ago it was. It's really easy to play the bad guy, not want to want to like Planeswalkers. Because most of the time, Planeswalkers end up being pretty medium. It's kind of hard to beat out the current Planeswalkers, at least the colored ones. But
Multicolor is a little different. You know,
multicolor,
like
yeah, the selection
Bond
isn't as... You know what? I do love me a Dovinbond. I'm really excited he's coming back in the next set.
It's going to be bad. I'm going to hate it.
But Teferi Hero Dominaria, that's obviously showing its dominance in Standard, Modern, Vintage. Cards are pretty powerful when you can exile them to Force Will. Or cost 3. It's pretty good. Anyway, Teferi's great. I have nothing but good things to say about it. I eventually came around to the card when I got one for my birthday.
Oh, that's convenient.
Real convenient. I think Jared opened one in prize packs. And I was like, hey, I need it for my cube. I think I'm probably going to play it finally. He's like, alright, you can have it. At the time, it was like $30. Now it's 65 Canadian.
For regular?
Yeah.
Well, Azorius is good enough without Planeswalkers.
It is.
It's a strong color combination.
It's one of the few that you can ignore. You don't have to play all the good ones because there's so many good ones to play.
So I'm not going to.
Yeah, Vultures. Anyway. Teferi Hero Dominaria is fantastic. You should probably play it. It's a lot of money. That's Ripperino. Buy Mythic Edition Planeswalker boxes, apparently. $200. We sold both of them really fast. It's insane. Yawgmoth Vial Offering.
This is a youth.
There was almost once when it was going to be amazing. I imagine there's a lot of stories that it was almost good for me. And then that was the end of Yawgmoth Vial Offering, I guess. So Dominaria we talked about a lot of cards, and a lot of cards ended up sticking. Like all of these cards, with the exception of Squee and Yawgmoth, I still play. So Divest, Cast Down, Dallas Bodyguard, Karn, Lyra.
Still play Shalai?
Yeah, Shalai, Teferi. So 8 cards, and like probably 6 of them, let's say Bodyguard, Karn, Lyra, Teferi. Let's say 4. 4 are like, will be in cube for a long time. With it being kind of the mechanics not being super great, blah blah blah, translating well, this and that. I'm pretty happy with it overall.
It's a good turnout.
Yeah, I think when I was kind of putting this list together, I think I was really impressed with how many cards we talked about in Core that we talked about as many, but not nearly them. You find out in a moment, might not have sticked. So, Dominaria, great throwback. Really excited to go back sometime. But I gave it a A-.
Give it a croissant.
Play them on Dead Cells. So that brings us to Battlebond. The list is pretty short. Neither, again, being the not Planeswalker Fun Police. Being the Planeswalker Fun Police. We're definitely not playing Arena Rector. That card is sweet, but neither of us tried it. We didn't talk about that many cards in general.
Will, I guess.
Will Kenrith. Again, obviously, it's hard to convince us otherwise to play some amount of Jaces. The Jace is this is so powerful. Will Kenrith is also very, very good. Costs a lot of mana. Don't think it's necessary. Blah, 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 blah. Probably still fine. I'm sure it's still fine. From what I've heard, everyone's pretty excited. Pretty happy with how it's tested.
Apparently it's been pretty positive from what I've read, yeah. So.
From the very boring cards we did test, let's start us off with Bramble Sovereign. I think did you just add Bramble Sovereign?
No, I added it when the set came out. I just cut it for Jade Light Ranger.
I just cut it recently too. Green's got a lot of these kind of weird utility-ish 4-drops. Some we'll talk about in a moment. So but even stuff like Ripjaw Raptor, like not quite. That card isn't really utility, but it's a 4-drop in green that's interesting.
That card has a kind of a purpose. So I guess my problem with Bramble Sovereign is I kept cutting it from random decks because it doesn't have an identity. It's not like this goes in this type of deck and it performs really well.
Yeah. So traditionally, green decks you just kind of curve up. In a perfect world, you just kind of curve out properly. Bramble Sovereign kind of has a whatever body. You don't really want to risk attacking or blocking just because you want its ability to pay off.
To get the value.
Yeah. And then, obviously you play Woodfall Primus or Kurdhuff Behemoth, they're dead, but, they're probably just more dead. So, this card was fine. It has a lot of big stories. The card isn't bad.
I never got any big stories out of this one yet. So.
You know what? I didn't either. I got a lot of really close stories. So, I think it maybe...
the Yawgmoth to this set? The Yawgmoth Vial Offering?
Well, those stories would be even better. No, it's not true. I did get one story out of that card. I destroyed a Planeswalker, got back Planeswalker. I can't remember what it was great. It was fantastic. Anyway, Bramble Sovereign in probably slightly higher cube counts. I know I'm at 450. You're at 540. It's probably on the cusp of yours, maybe a tad higher. But the card is very, very powerful regardless. It does. Again, it creates big stories, and that's kind of what a lot of people are looking for. But in terms of just what I expect out of the card, it's very, 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 very flaky. Doesn't really do a certain purpose. Like, this Ripjaw Raptor, I'm playing it in this whatever deck, I'm sending it in, no problem. Bramble Sovereign, like, tooth and nail.
Maybe.
And I guess probably the most confusing card, maybe printed in 2018, Brightling, who I argued and like, well, not argued, but I brought up like, what is this card designed for? Like, what did Magic, what did it print this for? Apparently, it's for Legacy. Who knew? It's not playing Legacy for 2 weeks. You can't kill it. You valid in the play, and you can't kill it.
Really?
That ended pretty quickly. I don't think they really. Yeah, Hate Bears played it for a bit. Yeah, it didn't really. I don't think it lasted very long. It spiked for a bit, kind of went back down.
I still got it on my list.
I still do 2. It's been fine. It resolves. When you play it on 3 and it dies immediately, even then you're like, well, whatever. But if you ever do manage to tap with it, it never dies. And then from then on, obviously you have more mana. It doesn't die.
I ran it out on 3 and traded with something immediately because I wanted to. So.
Yeah. Again, the 1 white is a hindrance. The gaining lifelink is happens to catch the aggressive decks. But it doesn't die. It's a very marginal creature that doesn't die, which is worth something, I suppose. It's kind of like a white guy that'll play in the white Winnie deck on curve that I'll also bring in maybe as a control deck. Because, like, again, it's a kind of like good block and whatever favorably. Kind of like a bad Aetherling or Morphling or whatever Ling.
Well, it's a Ling.
Wind Reaver.
I'm a big fan of Wind Reaver. Played many in my day.
And back in Standard. Dissension Standard,
It's a great standard.
Mindblade Render was a card that, I think early 2018 and late 2018 is a pretty big difference of playable black creatures. Even like, if you probably look at like early 2017 to late 2018, just how many black creatures have come out for cubes specifically, it's pretty impressive, I think. And Mindblade Render was probably on the right course. It was a 2 mana 1/3. Whenever a warrior deals combat damage to a player, you lose a life, draw a card. It is a warrior. It's an Azra warrior. I remember.
How many
it's a really
warriors
weird
do you have?
type. You play a couple, like, I think is Rune Raider a warrior, though that was, like, very, very recent. Keldon Marauders, Bloodsoaked Champion. There's another red, like, Warname Aspirant. There's a couple red and black ones that you can, just in a vacuum, a 2 mana 1/3 when it hits him, you draw a card, is, like, passable. The maybe extra card you'll sneak in is obviously, a very marginal upside. But ultimately, the fact that it was a 1/3 kind of kept it in sideboard, more of the aggressive sideboards. And it's not really a mid-range card, so the card's interesting. I think if you have a higher density of warriors, the card's sweet.
You cut it?
I did end up cutting it, but again, it had the looks of a fairly passable card. But again, just being a 2 mana 1/3 and not really fitting into the aggressive curve you want didn't really pay off. So, and I guess Spellseeker is a card that actually neither of us played, but the more I play specifically the format Canadian Highlander. This card is ramping that format. Like, it's super, super
Like
good.
every deck?
Any blue deck will play it. Obviously, the combination of being able to find recall is
What's
very,
a
very
Highlander format?
good. And we're playing Highlander. Anyway, obviously that format you're playing, 100 card, one of format, so you have way more targets. But I think that kind of showed me how powerful the card can be. Initially when we talked about the card, it's like, well, I kind of wish this card did more of one thing instead of being this kind of like blue recruiter. I'd rather be able to be a efficient counter guy or an efficient draw spell guy. And this card kind of does that. Obviously, without power, without recall, and kind of those huge high-end targets, it's significantly worse. And I still think I'm not playing it in like a legacy legal format. But in Vintage, if I ever go back to playing power, I would immediately include this card.
I played in 250 Highlander. Good format.
So yeah, in Vintage, I would immediately try this card. If you've been on the fence or maybe you've been unsure, at least that's my initial reaction to it, or my initial reaction 4 months later, or however long it's been. But
initial post reaction.
I'm not excited seeing that card. I remember I was playing on last Monday in my opponent's Spell Secret on 3, and I collected Brutality. I was like, oh, this collected Brutality is like duress -2/-2 kill your Spell Secret. It's insane. And I duressed him and he has Snapcaster Rage. Like, fuck. He's getting recall either way. Now he just doesn't get 2 recalls. So yeah, that's Battlebond. That's literally all the cards you played. There was like Najila. Didn't play Najila. The like weird red 5 activation color nonsense. Yeah, a bunch of other winners. But yeah, Battlebond wasn't a conspiracy set. How about that? Conspiracy.
Those sets always usually give us 1 or 2 as well, so it's about on par, right?
Yeah, but like Bramble Saw, like, I think Brightling.
I think
It's
the
weird to say that.
conspiracy sets give you more home runs than this set.
I guess
does.
Spellseeker is like probably a home run for power. Outside of that, you're like, I got a Brightling, I guess.
I'm not opposed to cutting it currently, so.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Bring me back conspiracy sets, please. Thank you. Well, that brings us to the most recent set, the most recent 3 month later review, and that's Core Set 2019. So, for Core Set, we just similar to Dominaria.
Rattle off a bunch of cards.
We talked about quite a few cards, and Core Sets are just easier. The mechanics are all very simple, very plain. It is a Core
You can
Set.
slot it into multiple things.
You don't expect a lot of like super high power variants in these kind of sets. But regardless, the set had a lot of planeswalkers. It had 5. One for every color, which is cool. So there's a lot of opportunity.
Did flip one, right?
Oh yeah, plus Nicol Bolas. So I should 6. So there was a lot to look forward to in this set. So, again, not alphabetical at all. Because starting off with the Lead and War Leader. The why not both Hero Blade Hold in the set. Every time I have this card, I'm like, this card is not Hero Blade Hold. It attacks for what? Only 1 point less. Because the hero attacks for 7. It attacks for 6. 2 of the points of lifelink. I don't know what it is. I think this card is still fine. I haven't cut it. I still play it. It's just again, it's a 4-drop. It has 4 toughness. That's ultimately why I'm going to end up playing it for now. But I guess Hero Blade Hold has had years and years and years kind of.
You know what to expect from that card.
Where Leader War Leader,
that.
Even though in my head I'm like, I'm still testing this card. In reality, like I know exactly what I'm getting out of it. This card's fine. And I do have a problem with white 4-drops, which I'll probably talk about later.
This means it's on the way out?
No, it's just like, if something flashier comes by, I'd probably, you go over there for now. And, because again, it is a duplicate of a similar effect. Kind of like Legion War Boss.
But also eventually that means that you kind of want to get something different in that slot.
Probably. But ultimately, again, I'm going to talk about a little more later, but white 4 is kind of having this, kind of running into this problem. And Legion War Leader slots into it well, so it'll stick around for a bit at least. You don't play War Leader, right?
No.
You do play Remorseful Cleric.
It's been doing good things for a flying bear that has an ability.
It's been once upon a time we had to play Mishal Charger and Stormfront Pegasus.
Yeah, this just cut one of those two, my last one. So I think it was Stormfront because it was altered.
It's a sad world that those cards are playable.
But by alter. It's nice.
So it was a Remorseful Cleric, and what's the other one? The Exile Graveyard guy? Or is this that one? This is that one. Right, this is the Exile Graveyard guy. The other one is the better one, Selfless Spirit. The make my guys indestructible.
Yeah.
Remorseful Cleric's fine. It's a upgraded Stormfront Pegasus.
I got someone trying to reanimate a creature. Yeah,
I think I exiled like a Bloodghast with it.
Yeah, onboard tricks.
I'll take that. You know what? That's free. We'll take those. Well, kind of free. So, not much to say. The card's fine. It's
staple.
Staple. That's probably sad to say, but boring cards sometimes get the job
I'll wear
done.
it proud. I like boring cards.
Sure does like boring cards. A card I liked a lot. Demon of Catastrophes. Demon of Catastrophes and Knots. You hit the bench pretty fast. A man can dream.
Record speed?
Probably not record speed. Record speed is like, I think I put not that long after Dominaria came out, I put in Skittering Surveyor, if you know what that card is. 3-mana 1/2 artifact creature comes into play. Search your deck for a land, put in your hand. A basic land.
Well, you really do like the 3-mana
Pilgrim's
1/1, yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, well, this card has like a slightly better body. Like it blocks a little better.
Fly.
That's all really that card does. No, it was much worse. So that might have been record in and out. Who knows? But Demon of Catastrophes hit the sidelines pretty fast. We just need more Doom Whisper. Like this, I'll pay 1 more mana. Just make the card better.
I want more cards that you can cast easier on black 4s. Something that
It's
doesn't
too
cost
black.
black.
That's fair.
Colors.
So Demon was like very marginal. I think if my game was a little bit bigger, I'd probably still be running him because I wasn't like appalled by how bad it did. But I definitely played it once in a game and it got bounced twice. That was really bad. That might have been why we ended up cutting it not long later. So
later that day,
results oriented. Maybe. Ooh, again, black creatures. A lot of black creatures in 2018. Graveyard Marshal. Speaking of the black mana cost. Do you play Graveyard Marshal?
Yeah, it's been
Graveyard
doing pretty
Marshal.
good. It's very grindy, grindhouse.
You know what? The card is a fine creature on curve, 3/2 for 2. But like the one time you draw that card late, and you're like, oh, this card's actually gonna be bananas. You play it like make a zombie. My turn, make a zombie, make a zombie. Like this card's insane. Insane. Well, insane is probably strong, but it's a 2-drop. It's good on curve, hard to cast. That's its drawback. But as the later the game goes on, you know your aggressive black deck isn't really known for drawing that many cards.
Yeah, traditional black has always had a problem. Traditional black aggro has had a problem closing out games. Doesn't have burn usually. So
yeah, so Graveyard Marshal gives you that kind of engine. Even in like kind of tokens or stacks decks, this card fits into that deck too. Those decks too. So yeah, this card's great. Its mana cost isn't
prohibitive mana
isn't
cost.
pretty, but big fan. Into play zombie travel.
Speaking of more black creatures.
The art is so funny when you like zoom in on this thing. You're like, it reminds you of Thick Daisy. You know, that's Israeth. I'm pretty sure I spelled that wrong. The Awakener. 1 black 3/3 death touch. When it attacks, you can pay X reanimate a guy that costs extra less from your graveyard. It's like been fine. It's in a color combination. It's not in a color combination. Again, black kind of along all the curve of creatures needs some amount of help, and probably black 2's
only 1 to 5.
Only 1 to 5. So yeah, Israeth fits into that category. It doesn't. It normally runs into die to hopefully buy back some amount of value. It blocks big guys. It's not exciting. So it's kind of funny. You know what? If you're not playing this card, I'm not trying to sell you on it. You don't have to play it. This card's kind of whatever.
It's serviceable, and that's kind of what black has, and still has.
Yeah, so
that's fine.
I'm not gonna try to sell anybody on this card. Not like Graveyard Marshal. Graveyard Marshal good. Ezreath. Dismissive Pyromancer. Kills Bone Dragon. The new.
So I don't know if you're gonna bring that back.
Well, we needed to fill the curve out. Now we got Bone Dragon, who only recently was replaced by Doom Whisperer. No, I never played Bone Dragon. No one should ever play Bone Dragon. But Dismissive Pyromancer's sole purpose, like we discussed in the review, is to kill Bone Dragon. Does not kill Bone Dragon, so the card is bad. You're not playing Bone Dragon. The card doesn't do it. What else is there to do? Huh? Kill white 4-drops? Who cares about those? Did you play this one?
No. Yes, I still do.
Has it done anything? I think Jared rummaged with it once.
No, I'm thinking of a different card. I do not play this one.
Do you play the one that's like sack a guy?
I play the one that comes into play and shocks a guy.
Oh, that's the next card I'm talking about.
Yes.
This is a Pyromancer, utility red creature.
This thing feels really slow.
You never ever want to attack with it, even in your red aggressive decks. You're
right.
Like, no, I'm gonna hold on to it. Like I might need this. I might rummage. I might use this Flame Slash ability. Yeah, you just don't really. It's kind of into that. So, Viashino Pyromancer. Spoiler alert: Drew still plays it.
It's fine.
It was a 2-mana 2/1 comes into play. Your opponent takes 2.
Cannot do planeswalkers.
Cannot do planeswalkers. That part's worse.
It's what you expect.
It's super boring, and this card is probably more
excited.
more consistent than Dismissive Pyromancer.
Of course, it's more consistent.
Dismissive Pyromancer.
It comes into play, and it does
Pyromancer. Too. Yeah, you're exactly what you're paying for. I don't play it. I don't have to. I don't need to play 90 extra cards like this guy. Do you still play Goreclaw, Terror of Kalsisma?
Yes.
The other series of utility-ish
when I
4
added
drops.
it, I was kind of really here, but it's slowly risen up a little bit. Like, I made a controversial cut to add it.
Oh, yeah?
Vengevine.
Yeah.
And so far, I guess you reanimated it once with
No.
Scarab God.
No. Dow played against me, and then I treacheried it, and then played Scarab God.
That was good.
Yeah, I could have played it with full mana anyway, but then I Noxious Gear Hulked, and was able to do something else because it cost less, and yeah, that was into that game.
Well, the best part of it is the mana cost. The worst part of it is it's 3 times. Yeah. You gotta go from there.
Oh, that's not true. Sorry. I was able to treachery it off of a Prismatic Lens, so then I can still untap my 4 lands and still play Scarab God. And then, again, play Noxious Gear Hulk, which was hilarious. Jared was very mad. Because he could have... What was he going to do? He was going to natural state my Prismatic Lens. Just didn't. Lost in the game.
It's because he's indecisive.
Yeah, Goreclaw's in this like brick of 4 green 4-drops that I rotate between Goreclaw, Vizier and Menagerie, Bramble Sovereign.
I was gonna guess Bramble.
These cards are all like fine 4-drops. They all like do.
I like Vizier.
I like Vizier the most, I think, especially because mana cost is the most appealing. And we gave it the stamp of approval, and you can't go back on your word, right? So
I still play it. I love it.
I like it too. But Vivian Reed.
Didn't play it.
Yeah, you still don't. This card's fine. I think initially I said I don't think but beyond Garrick Wildspeaker, I just don't think I like it more than any of the Garricks initially. But after playing it, I'd like it more than the Garricks. I still don't know if it's better than what's her name, Fraley's, but this card is exactly what the green decks need. It has like it has the like plus the draw creatures, right, which is good. It has the arbitrary like also disenchants things, which is nice to have on cards, and then its ultimate is also fine. So it costs 5 mana, but there's no way you're getting this ability at 4. It's starting to see play now, after rotation, but the card's like expensive now, which is funny. It's like $25 or something. But
it's quite a bit.
This card's performed well. I think if you play like beyond Garrick Wildspeaker, I think it's worth playing over any other Garrick, especially the 5 mana triple green Garrick. As much as I love that card, I do love that card.
I love that card a lot.
But outside of that, I think this card's worth a try. Again, even if you play Fraley's and just aren't convinced, maybe it's worth swapping it out, trying it out.
I still play 3 mana Nisa that makes plants for more diversity.
Yeah, that card too. That card's just again, it's just a different angle. It's so good that you're just not gonna get another Planeswalker. Even was it the other 5 mana Nisa?
Goes in the tribal +1/+1 deck.
What's the Nisa Vital Force?
Yeah.
That one too. I'm not sure which
one. Makes 4/4s?
No, where like it makes a 4/4 and like returns a permanent from your graveyard for like its minus. And its ultimate, the ultimate's a turn after. It's like whenever you play a land, draw a card.
Right, it's one of those fast ultimates in the Phyrexian Arena kind of thing.
Yeah, that card too. That card's fine. Green has a pretty healthy selection of Planeswalkers between some amount of Nisa, some amount of Garricks, Vivian, Fraley's. It's probably one of the... That's not true. Like, blue also has a pretty good amount. White has a pretty healthy amount. Is it just red and black that's like lacking?
Yeah.
Even like black has to be the worst. Other than Liliana Veil. That's not true. Liliana Last Hope.
You got some medium options now.
5 mana Omnixilus.
Yeah.
5 mana the new Imankit Liliana. It's probably still the weakest though. Regardless.
Sorin. 6 mana or 5 mana Sorin.
6 mana Sorin. So, yeah, again, green has a lot of options. Sure, it's fine. Maybe give it a try if you've been on the fence about it. I've been pretty happy with it. But yeah, that's all a core. Neither of us tried Nicol Bolas. Either.
It can't be better than God Pharaoh.
That's my idea too. Like, in the Grixis deck, like you're just gonna play that card on 4. Like, I don't know what. Maybe neither of us tried it. Maybe one day I'll try it out. But out of the gate, and many gates or months later, still not playing it. So if you have any feedback on it, we'd like to hear it. That's it. So. Core set, just like Dominaria, like I mentioned, we talked about a lot of cards. So cards that will stick for a very long time. Remorseful Cleric, probably Graveyard Marshal, and then like, it's like the list is pretty short. There's a lot of.
I played a bounce guy.
Oh yeah, Exclusion Mage. That card's
fine.
It's exactly what you think it is. But this set has a lot of. Unlike Dominaria, where there's many staples, it's probably because of the strength of the 2 Planeswalkers that the set has, plus the carbon copy of. Baneslayer Angel. Doesn't feel nearly... There aren't as many staples, but, there's a lot of cards that were playable, and I'm sure will be good role fillers, at least for the time being. But so that's kind of it. That's kind of the catch-up we've been doing for the past 6 months, I think.
Depends when you want to count it from. Is it a 3-month after count, or...?
Well, 3 months, 6 months, 5 months, some amount of months. But... Needless to say, Core Set and Dominaria are both very good. I think they'll probably, you know what? I just want to say negative things about guilds for some reason, just because I'm unhappy with the amount of guild, but amount of multicolored cards we got out of guilds. But a lot of the
deep down, I knew that's what we'd get, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. It's weird that the.
Just wait until we get half of our Simic card.
It's weird that a lot of the strong guilds cards were monocolored cards, which is kind of funny. But regardless, we'll talk about that in. Probably 2.5 months. Maybe 2 months at this point, who knows. But that's it. I think the last thing I want to talk about is for a long time, Drew and I's Cube have been very, very similar, and I think this is the first time that I'm very slowly moving away. Our lists are moving away, if that makes sense. Because I made a rather big change to my cube that Drew doesn't really know that much about, that I got asked about online a bit. That's I made my cube legacy legal.
Legacy legal.
Yeah, so legacy legal. The notable cuts are, and like there are a lot of them. So black loses demonic 2 different character, which are huge. Survival of the fittest. Recurrent Hammer is still legal, which is funny.
Is it?
Yeah. Dig Through Time, Treasure Cruise. There's another blue card.
That's funny.
Tinker.
Okay.
Rest in peace, Tinker.
I've always been toying with cutting Tinker anyways.
I don't think Red lost anything because I don't play Wheel of Fortune. I don't even know if Wheel of Fortune's banned. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm forgetting other cards. Skull Clamp. Sentinel's Divining Top. Which is kind of funny.
Are we playing miracle cards?
No.
Okay,
I recently got them. I guess I can just look at this list since it's literally right in front of me. So...
Kind of Mystical Tutor.
Banned. Mystical Tutor banned. I thought I was forgetting something else. I'm sure I am. Strip Mine banned. That's pretty much it. So those are notable cards. They're all very, very good. And the reason why I inevitably end up cutting it, and this is actually kind of a similar design philosophy both Drew and I have, and that's that we ultimately ended up, you don't just not play power. If you don't play power, you generally don't play the cards that surround power, like fast mana, like Mana Vault, Soul Ring, Grim Monolith, Library of Alexandria. That's not quite fast, but Mind Twist, Balance. Like there's, you kind of have to draw a line in the sand at some point. Moat. So I disliked, this is why I did it, but I disliked the fact that line was very gray of, what is in, what isn't in. I can't just tell, someone asks me, hey, what kind of cube do you have? I'm like, well, I have a cube, and it's whatever. I don't play power, but I also don't play these other cards. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna do legacy. I've actually thought about it. I thought about kind of going to legacy probably the past couple of years.
You play True Name then.
Here's 3 big giveaways. I've thought about it for a long time, but I was like, there's no way I can afford to cut these cards because I just like playing them too much. And ultimately, when I first put the cube together, it was to ideally play the best cards in Magic, the most powerful cards in Magic. But now, we're how many years down the road. It's probably better for, this sort of every now and then content that Drew and I make. That there's some sort of like differences, right? So I'm not sure if this will make a big impact immediately. But I made many, many, many changes to my last Cube Zero updates. And I still have yet to do guilds because I've been very lazy. That's why there's a lot of like weird ones in here, like Grim Specs, because that was just supposed to be a placeholder for new Grim Specs. But like cards that came back. So now that I don't play Mind Twist, don't play Balance, don't play all these other cards. Now that I'm playing Legacy legal cards, I'm giving the cards that are legal in Legacy a try, like Grim Monolith and True Nemesis. So, you kind of trade off one evil for another, but at least this way there's a definitive, like I said, line in the sand. And even though I'm not a fan of True Nemesis specifically. Oh, and Upheaval. Upheaval is also legacy legal. Ultimately, I haven't been like too soured by the moto experience of these cards specifically, and not that it's relevant at all, but I'm also going to try Gaze Cradle, which I chose a terrible time to try Gaze Cradle.
Just spike?
Because it's like $600 something, which is insane. So I don't really have one yet, but we're going to try one.
Did we just finish getting all the cards we needed for our cube recently, and then we decided, let's add some $600 cards?
No, I've been actually sitting on this update for a little bit. I was actually, when I was in Montreal for Minneapolis, I was about to say when I was in Montreal for Minneapolis, but when I was in Montreal for the Grand Prix, I was talking to the Reddit user, A Cure for the Cold, I believe it is. I think it's his Reddit name. Anyway, I ran into him at many Ontario GPs. So, we talked about Cube here and there, and he asked me about a little bit of feedback on previous cards, and I was like, well, you know what? Actually, I think with this conversation initially started if I think it was about Approach the Second Sun. And it was really, really random, because I was like, you know what? I'm actually trying Approach Second Sun, which is maybe this third, it's in there somewhere. Because I'm normally a fan of trying out cards that perform well for me on the Moto Cube, because Moto Cube, as much as Drew and I have beef with it, it's a good platform for trying out cards you would otherwise never consider trying, like Approach the Second Sun.
It's a good introductory offering anyway.
So that and a lot of my friends get to play a lot more rounds with that cube than mine. So it's, I hear feedback. Yeah, this card performed way better than expected. Similar to Settle the Wreckage, which I wouldn't have considered normally, but after it being performing so well on Moto, maybe try it out. So I think that's how we started talking about it. And then I showed him all my changes I was making, and he's like, "Oh, okay." And then I posted online finally, and then I got some feedback about that. So, so I obviously cut all the legacy banned cards, but I got Sublime Archangel for Calciderm. That's a fun upgrade. Upgrade's probably the wrong word for it.
I haven't read this over, but I'm starting to get a little uppity.
This is I'm sure this is very
Oh, Wingmate Rock's back. Excellent.
I just like Wingmate Rock.
I like Wingmate Rock.
So
actually.
my bad reasoning for Calciderm is that I was looking at these series of 4-drops that all died of lightning bolts, and then I looked up literally every single white creature that costs 4 in Gatherer. And I was like, you know what? I was going to play Calciderm. Calciderm just kills people. It makes people dead. Hopefully, let's just try that card again. I just got mad.
And putting in Wood Elves? Is that...
It was kind of a rage cut.
State of
no, so
affairs?
the Wood Elves, more green ramp stuff is kind of from the Legacy Gaius Cradle-ish kind of nonsense. That stuff specifically goes very high online. So, like, you know what? I'm going to try it out. Teferi, Mage of Zalfir 2 has been performing very well on Moto. And then, like, now that I have Mystical Tutor out, I'm like, you know what? I kind of want another cantrip. I'll try out Opt.
You know, Ashen Rider is not a colorless card, right?
Ashen Rider is a test card.
Okay, because we cut your fan favorite Pilgrim's Eye for it.
Sorry,
so
I added one of each more multicolor card too.
You're up to 5?
Yes.
That might be too high for your size.
So that's why Ashen Rider's in as like a reanimator target, because I'm trying to still make reanimator deck.
Are you putting your your hybrid cards in your guild section?
I moved some of them.
Because if you're going up to 5, you might need to do that.
I might, but at the time I don't. Or that's not true. At the time I chose not to. But yeah, there's a couple interesting cards. Like I put in Tooth and Nail. I put in Elvish Visionary. Kind of these like smaller idiots for this Gaius Cradle
The Locust God.
You know what, Locust God, again, placeholder for Ral is it Viceroy, or I'll just cut Ral.
You could have made this update at the same time, you know.
No,
the set is out right now.
I spent so much time making this initially before, and then I just pulled the trigger way after.
So we live like a month in the past here.
Yeah, a month in the past. So that's where I'm at. Oh, Glare Subdual. That card is great online. Big fan. So, do we have those any ones? Oh yeah, Rekindling Phoenix, a standard card I wanted to try.
You put Diagraph Ghoul in. I'm sure that. Look at my list. There's got to be some nonsense 1-drop in black you can play.
It's a zombie. There's random zombie synergy.
Comes into play tapped. It's so feel bad.
Who cares? You can block. Being able to block is not bad. You know, eventually. Regardless, many changes. Grim Spec's really funny. Greater Garganon. Anyway. Like normal, we'll have, my really zany cube, apparently. And Drew's very boring cube. In the
Tassiger for Tombstalker?
In Canadian Highlander.
No. Tassiger for Tombstalker?
Listen, I already play Zombie Fish 2. So, let's talk about Tombstalker. Or talk about, specifically, Tassiger. I play Tassiger as a black card.
Show me my contract. I want out.
I play Tassiger as a black card. Very often, Grobog Angler is just a better card. And I've been killing a lot of people with Tombstalker lately in Canadian Highlander. So, it's different, but similar. I don't know. It's performing well for me. That's where I'm at. If you want to, like I said, see my zany changes that Drew doesn't appreciate, condone. My Drew and I's lists are always in the I was gonna say comment section, but that's not true. Down below in the information area of YouTube or SoundCloud or wherever else this is. On the lower part of the article page. It's over there. Anyway, sure, check it out. That being said, that's my weird tangent off into my Legacy update and Battlebond and Dominaria and Core 2019.
And Tombstalker.
That seems like such a you card, too. I'm surprised you're so...
I just cut it
upset
for this 5.
Yeah, you know what I played in your cube all the time? Tombstalker.
No, I remember it being in the sideboard.
Show's over.